Hi, my name is Mrs. Corson, and I'm the MYP coordinator for Pilot Butte Middle School. This screencast is specifically for families trying to understand Managebac and workflow here at our school. As an IB World school, our marking system is a little bit different than a traditional middle school, and so Managebac is going to show you, just how the criterion works and how the marking system works at the school. Please don't download the app to access your child's account. You're going to need to go directly through your child's account number with his or her ID and password. So when your student opens their iPad, they have to put in their 4-digit number that opens the iPad itself, but they have an icon that opens to the home page of Managebac. Soon that may be the app, but right now we're just using the iOS homepage as their sign-in. And you'll notice that all of their student sign-in and password has already been preloaded. Most students have set their pages to be autofill for their passwords so that they don't have to deal with this issue every time, and it's an easier transition. When the students open it up, you will see their student profile page here, and notice that all these tabs exist for the students and all of their classes, and I'm going to take you on the next few pages to see these different tabs and what it can show you about a student's learning experiences here at Pilot Butte. One of the first questions we get from parents is, how can I use Managebac in order to see my students' assignments and what's coming up? You'll notice that on their 2-week calendar, which is always on their dashboard for every class, are the summative tasks listed by teachers. And so every little I will then open up. If you hover over it, will open up to let you know what's expected and if the teachers have downloaded any PDFs to go with that assignment. And so when the student is actually finished with this and returns the assignment to Dropbox, that assignment or project would show up here as well, and you could look at the student's work. So you can always take a look at a student's classes through the Classes tab. All of them will populate. And again, that calendar lets you know, those little eyes on those calendar events let you know what's upcoming and the expectations. I didn't place it on the screenshot, but over here to the right, there is a place for you to subscribe to the calendar. If you do that, your child does that, it will send him or her reminders about those upcoming events. So the Tasks tab allows you to see all assignments, those that are upcoming, and those that were already completed. And if you click on one specifically, it will take you back to that calendar date and that task specifically so that you can understand the expectations and if your child returned that work into Managebac if it was required. When students upload their work to a task in Managebac, as in this case, it was a journalist newspaper. This is the work that was uploaded by the student. The teacher always has an option to annotate that work within Managebac. And so you can see the annotations that I've left over here on the right-hand side. This is powerful, and we do it several times a year, but we can only do it with some assignments. If some teachers have 150 more students on their caseload, it becomes pretty labor-intensive, but it also, again, is very powerful. So you can see that student scores here out of 8 possible points, and this was an assignment that graded all 4 criterion. So if your child turned work into Managebac with a task that the teacher gave, how can you access it? Well, in the case that I showed you before, that journalist newspaper, if you just clicked on it within the tasks itself, it would go back to the date. It's going to always pop to this assessment tab first to let you know how the student's being assessed, so that the student sees the criterion right there in front of them before they click Dropbox. Once they click Dropbox, it opens up to this page, and this is where they see exactly what the assignment was, all criterion that will be marked for this particular project, and then they go ahead and upload it. How they do it is they choose the file. It ends up coming from their Google Drive in the form of something that Managebac recognizes, and then it's placed here. Now once it's placed here, the teacher has the option to annotate, and if the teacher did annotate the paper, then two two pieces of paper will show. If you click on the blue one and open it up, the annotations will appear. So this is the example of it opening up. This is where the teacher annotated the document, and once it was annotated, you see the marks over here to the right-hand side. Every classroom teacher has an option to use the message tab, and so a teacher may put a message out to that class, and then the class can answer or ask questions, answer questions underneath. And so this is the way that we can kind of have fluid feedback back and forth. So if the students have questions, maybe over the weekend, those can be answered. And sometimes not always by me. Sometimes other students are blogging in here from the class and answering those questions for me. The portfolio tab is a student's digital portfolio, and so you can see that it has all their classes listed here on the side, and they can choose a file, and it can be any of these formats, and then add it to their portfolio. This helps to relieve them of having to have paper and big binders. This essentially becomes their binder. Right now, once it's in the portfolio, they cannot remove it. Only a teacher can remove it. So it's something that can live there for the 3 years they're at Pilot Butte, possibly used for the community project in their 8th grade year. The Reflections tab is for students to reflect after those MYP units of instruction in these spaces below. And so they create goals for themselves for the semester or the year, and then they reflect on those after they have completed the unit. For example, this past unit, my students worked on communication and collaboration. So they talked about how it was for them during the 8 weeks to communicate and collaborate. How were they stretched? What risks did they take? What patterns did they see in themselves? So it really is a reflection of their skills and how they can continue to use these skills to move forward in their school career. Your student can also join any groups here at Pilot Butte. And on this screen, only 4 show, but we have 10 or 12 groups listed already on Managebac. And so they would need to go and talk to that teacher or facilitator or advisor for that group in order to join the group. But there's lots of ways to get involved at Pilot Butte, and we're hoping to see more students join. But at least on this tab, you can see what's available. So thank you very much for listening to this screencast on Managebac. It's my hope that you'll have a better understanding about the workflow, the communication, the feedback between teachers and students will work here at Pilot Butte. As an IB World School, when we don't really refer to letter grades, it's important that you understand what the criterion mean and how those tasks are written up for students and how they can better understand what they're doing, what's coming up, what's due, when it's due, how to get it to the teacher, and then how teachers are giving feedback to the students as well. So I hope that this was informative. If you have any questions, please give us a call here at Pilot Butte. We'd be happy to answer them for you.